Hello there. Thanks for joining me. It's been a little while. I hope you're doing well. Yesterday I got a video in my feed from this gentleman. I've never heard of him before, Dave McKeegan. And I just thought it was worth responding to because Dave is claiming that that he has a video about a flat earth argument that disproves flat earth theory. And of course, he's got the typical face palm of disbelief in the thumbnail. We've all seen this before. It's like, are these people serious in 2022? Dave, yes, they are. And the reason that you had to make this video is because nobody has been able to show any physical evidence of curvature in the 7 years that I've been looking at this. 7 years, David. And I really doubt that you're going to be the first to come along and present that evidence. Let's take a quick look. His channel, as you can see, 1,100 views in 5 days on that video, 503 views, 589 views, 1,000 views, 1.9. This one got a few, real or fake, 52,000. But he's already going to pass that. He's well on course to pass that video count out. So this, I have a feeling David is probably going to end up making a few more flat earth videos, which is fine, because I'll come along and I'm sure not just me, but others will take a look at his work and see if we can help him improve his observation skills. But for now, we are going to just dive in and see what he has to say about these so-called flat earthers disproving their own argument. All right, so let's bump into the video a little bit here. Maybe about a minute in.
Now, you're probably familiar with all this anyway, but we're taught the Earth's a sphere, and some people...
Yeah. Are we supposed to believe that's where we live? That doesn't look real. So if you're going to tell us that the Earth is a sphere, at least give us a real picture of that sphere. Of course, you can't do that because the Earth is not a sphere. There's no such thing as a real picture of the Earth as a sphere.
People believe that that's a lie, and in fact the Earth...
Which, of course, is why he has to present a completely disingenuous image here. This is the kind of nonsense that Google will give you if you search flat Earth. A conical underside and a frisbee flat disk on the surface, all floating adrift in the heliocentric cosmos. And of course, there's actually stars in our cosmos with the flat disk, but you'll never see stars, you know, with the ball Earth. So let's get a look here. Where are the stars? You never do tend to see the stars around the ball Earth. But when they want to misrepresent the other side, that's fine. You can have your stars. Dave, this is a ridiculous image, and nobody, absolutely nobody, thinks the Earth looks anything like this, okay? No curvature, no heliocentric void of space.
Earth is a flat disk. And their argument to try and prove this, or one of the arguments that they use to suggest this, is if you go and stand at the seaside, looking out to sea, completely...
The first thing I notice with this image is that the reflection of the sun comes all the way to the feet of the observer. And that can only happen on a flat surface. Dave, I'd like to see you model a reflection like that over a curved surface.
Completely empty horizon. You can't see any curvature. Except, I think they must think, I'm borrowing this for a second, they must think the Earth's the size of a tennis ball.
Nobody thinks the Earth's the size of a tennis ball. In fact, it's the people who are saying that the Earth is established on a level plane that are actually bringing the geometry. We're told the radius value of the spherical Earth is 3,959 miles. And with that curvature, we know the decline of the circumference relative to a standing observer. So if you're standing at the edge of a body of water, we know that after 1 mile of movement away from that observer, there will be a decline of 8 inches. And we know that how that curvature progresses the further you move away from a static observer, okay? by 10 miles, you're talking about 66.6 feet of curvature, a favorite number in the heliocentric cosmos. So 66 feet after 10 miles. Now, I don't think Dave's going to get into any of the geometry. He's going to stick with optics because he's a lens guy. So let's continue.
You would expect to see curvature with a very small ball because the curve arc is very tight. But with a very large ball, the curvature becomes more and more gradual. There is actually a very well-known example that someone created to explain this using a basketball and a very heavily magnified macro lens. And if you put the macro lens close enough to the surface of even a basketball, which is black.
This looks like the paint on the basketball. I think I could see it's pretty straight around here, but there's definitely decline on the outer edges, right? Doesn't look straight and flat to me, but maybe it does to you, Dave.
Blindingly obviously a sphere, it appears flat. And even then, in that relative distance, if you look, that lens is a couple of centimeters.
It's probably at least 30 centimeters from what's being observed by that lens. You know, you can see it's almost, the lens is back beyond the ball. So you would have to say that it's almost further than the radius value of this ball away from the observed area of the ball. So I would say it's a lot more than a couple of centimeters, but you're the expert, so please continue.
Above the basketball, which if you scale up that basketball to the size of the Earth, that lens...
1 centimeter. Your lens is not 1 centimeter from the ball. It might be 1 centimeter above, but you were back from the ball, we'd say back here. So your observation distance was not what you're portraying here.
Is probably like a good 100 plus miles in the air, maybe even more than that. It's much higher than most weather balloons will go. So the idea of seeing a left to right curvature with the naked eye at sea level is frankly ludicrous.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's get up ahead here.
Tail. And you have a piece of apparatus that is basically 2 straight bars.
Okay, this is how you're trying to demonstrate whether there's curvature or not. I know this is not your test because I don't get the impression you're going to go out and do anything to observe the reality outside your front door. This test is nonsensical out the gate, okay? Again, you're depending on just observation. You're also depending on precision and accuracy of setup. Whatever's going on here, I can see there's an under support below the separate bars here. You got like a Black & Decker little table type thing here. And, you know, it is nicely lined up, but I think I could easily set this up and show you a perfectly straight line, or I could demonstrate curvature with this by just dropping the outer sides the tiniest bit relative to the inside here. So this is just a silly test at best. It's, again, depending completely on observation. No physical evidence of anything.
Straight bars with a line running through the middle of them. So it creates a perfectly straight line. You put the left edge of the horizon up against the left edge of the bar, the right edge of the horizon up against the right edge of the bar, and if the horizon is flat, then it should run perfectly through the center line in the middle. But it doesn't. It actually goes slightly above it because there is a very gradual curve.
We've seen this kind of compression stunt pulled before. It doesn't really demonstrate curvature at all. Look how curved your table was. I thought that was a flat table there. I thought these were sitting on a flat surface. But if these bars are on a flat surface, why are they curved like that, right? No. And this is just, again, disingenuous observational nonsense.
It is only very, very slight, but it is there. So there is curvature visible.
By the way, I think it was Jeranism did a test, or did a little video discussing this kind of over compression, where he videotaped his own table or his granite countertop, and when he compressed it, his countertop showed curvature, yet, you know, in reality, there's no curvature across his countertop. So once again, this is just observational. This is really not evidence of anything It's just, you know, it all depends on setup. It all depends on these factors that are easily manipulated. For example, just dipping these outside edges a little tiny bit would you know, put your observation completely into a state of inaccuracy.
So there is curvature visible low to the ground, but it is only very slight. But flat earthers like to ignore that. They go, okay, well, in that case, why don't we stick a GoPro to a weather balloon and we'll send it, you know, 80, 90, 100,000 plus feet into the air, and we'll see if we can see some curvature there.
It's all about seeing curvature for Dave. Seeing curvature with this kind of stuff like lenses. We know that, you know, you're going to get curvature from lenses. So observing curvature at height, it's nice. It's nice to see. It's good to do. But you're not proving anything. And I don't think it's the best evidence to just go with observations alone.
Now, this one gets a little bit stupid because most of the time they are using things like GoPros and action cameras that use fisheye lenses. And now those cameras...
That's right. People do use those lenses because they give, you know, a greater field of vision. And then we can also apply reverse filters that basically will calculate what the kind of curvature that the specific lens produces. And then you can roll that back in a program like Photoshop and see what the imagery looks like without the imposed curvature of the lens. So let's move through again. This is all kind of waffle. I want to let him get to the real point he makes somewhere around his square Earth explanation here. After this, I think we're good to go.
Big corners sticking out that we obviously don't...
Nice one, Dave. Good stuff.
See. So any flat earther is using this argument of, well, there's no curvature from a video on a weather balloon. It's just shooting their own argument in the face.
I honestly don't think anyone thinks the Earth is flat just based on footage from a weather balloon. Carry on.
Of suggesting that the Earth is a disc. I mean, it becomes...
I don't think you have to call the Earth a disc just because you say it's flat, right? How do you know the bounds to the plane? I don't know anything about the boundaries of the plane of the Earth. Do you? I don't think you do. You just showed a really crappy picture of what you think a flat Earth looks like, which only demonstrated ignorance to me.
More hilarious that they haven't worked out yet that it seems in every single one of these videos of a weather balloon taking a GoPro up, the horizon is always equal distance in every direction. Doesn't matter where in the world the balloons launch from, the horizon always ends up equal.
Okay, so this is where Dave demonstrates the real lack of understanding that he seems to have of the concept of perspective. And it's not a concept, actually. It's a law, you could say, a rule. When you observe, let's do it this way, Dave. If you stand next to an auto vehicle, like say your own car, you stand next to it, it's quite large. In fact, it's large enough that you can hop in and drive away. But if that car was parked, say 100 meters down the road, it's much smaller, and you can literally hold your thumb and finger together and you could pinch them together and see that that car is tiny after just 100 meters. Now continue away to a kilometer or a mile. How small is that car going to be? It's diminished massively because of perspective, Dave. And a man who is into photography should know all about perspective, but it seems that you are very lost when it comes to understanding that things in the distance are much smaller. And actually, no matter how far you go, you know, eventually anything in the distance over a plane is going to disappear due to simply the ability of your eye to resolve the image, but also the fact that it has shrunk relative to the observer by perspective.
Distance in every direction. On a flat disk only happens when you're directly above the center, which either means that every single weather balloon with a GoPro on that people are launching takes off, happens to fly thousands of miles to straight above the North Pole and up. And
so, again, complete misunderstanding. And look at the height of his balloons. You're using this ridiculous, disingenuous artwork to make your point. weather balloons above this plane here would go no higher than this movement of my mouse. I think that would be as high as we get. This to this, right? If you were to take off, and where are we? This landmass is kind of deceptive. I don't really know what's going on. We got a little bit of snow here, kind of a Florida looking setup here. I don't know what he's trying to show us. But the point is, these balloons have moved up to a ridiculous height here. No, we're talking about when a weather balloon goes up maybe as high as my pointer here. And so as you look away around that balloon, you're only going to get a circumference of visibility relative to the location of the observer. So even if we launched our balloon here, the observer is only going to see this much on a plane or on a ball. Okay, there's a limit to the resolution of the eye, but also of any lens. Eventually you can see no further. So what you're showing here just demonstrates ignorance on your part, and it's kind of embarrassing, yet Google seems to think this video deserves a lot of views. How odd.
And then when the balloon bursts, it happens to come back down on the exact same path, right back to where it started.
You're the only person that thinks this stuff. You're the only person that I know that thinks the Earth, that believes people who are saying the Earth is flat accept this ridiculous conical Earth in the cosmic void, and that balloons go to the center and drift off. I mean, this is just such nonsense thinking. You're the first person I've ever heard to bring this up, and hopefully the last.
Or you're above a sphere where it doesn't matter where you are.
So once again, above the sphere, so say we launch a weather balloon from right here, it would go, or we'll say here, okay? You go up this height, a weather balloon would be no further than my mouse pointer. And again, the view from that weather balloon is very small. So it's kind of the same thing on a ball as it is on a plane.
On the surface of it, you go straight up, you're always looking at the same size cross-section in every direction. Anyway, that is going to conclude this particular rant.
Okay, it does conclude it, but just before we go, let's go back a little bit here to your balloon footage. Yeah. So you're going to tell me that this balloon, since you believe you live on a sphere, let's get a look here, that this balloon was looking at one side of the spherical Earth all the way up to the other?
Every single one of these videos,
let's see,
of a weather balloon taking a GoPro.
This one. So here we go. The balloon has just burst. There's the sun. So Dave would have me believe that this is the bottom of the spherical Earth, and in a moment we're going to be looking at the top of the spherical Earth.
The horizon is always...
So what a tiny, tiny planet, Dave. What a tiny planet.
Started. Or you're above a sphere where it doesn't matter where you are on the surface of it, you go straight up, you're always looking at the same size cross-section in every direction. Anyway, that is going to conclude this particular rant. I'm
really glad it does. Completely disingenuous, complete nonsense, but thank you for your time. I hope to make a few more videos in the coming year. It's been a slack year for me. I've had a lot of other stuff going on, but hopefully with a bit of luck, I'll be able to get some more videos coming along based on geometry, much more than fake space. But also, I do think we need to discuss Artemis and a few other topics because, you know, I mean, the dream, the dream has kind of, the bubble of the dream has burst. And I think a lot of people are seeing through the nonsense now that it's 50 years later and NASA are, you know, screwing up the latest moon missions every bit as horribly as they did the original way back 50 years ago. So I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you watching the video and have yourself a great day.